Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission in the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll actually be doing a wrap-up show after this before we get into Halo 2. This episode, we're closing out Halo Combat Evolved with The Maw. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Hold me.
The last mission, we sought out Captain Keyes to obtain the codes needed to blow the reactor inside the Pillar of Autumn. We got the codes, but the Flood got Keyes. And we were sad. Kind of. We actually are.
A little bit.
Yeah. This mission, Chief and Cortana fly a Banshee to the husk of their ship in order to fulfill their plan of destroying the Halo and the Flood. 343 Guilty Spark tries to foil our plans, but we platform our way to destruction and escape the Halo after a not-so-great joyride in the Warthog. The date of this mission is September 22nd, 2552. The whole game, essentially, is just a 4-day span from the 19th to the 22nd. So the
pretty crazy 4 days.
The bullet count per day in this game is extremely high. Very high. All right, so we started a little goofy, right? We have that kind of fly-in. We left the last mission. We got into the Banshee, and this was essentially immediately after. We find the Pillar of Autumn, and Chief, do you think he crashed on purpose, or do you think he actually, I don't know, the Banshee was in rough shape and he just made it as close as he could? David, do you think he did that on purpose?
I think so, because when you look like where he's climbing into, the Banshee wasn't going to fit. He was going into like the Bumblebee pods come out at the start of the game. Mm-hmm. So like the Banshee wasn't going to fit in there anyway. So like I think he did just dive at the last minute and jump out to crash the ledge.
Yeah, I guess.
Not as a like, you know, mess with Cortana kind of thing, but in terms of like this is practically all I can do because this thing is about to die.
Yeah, she adds a little, comic relief here, but Chief John, he's not really a funny guy at all.
No.
So I don't think he was doing that just to make things more difficult and having fun. But at this point, he just wants to end these 4 days of hell, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So then we hop aboard and we climb in. We kind of finally get to get our bearings a little bit. The Pillar of Autumn is in rough shape, as you can see from the cutscene. It's just a destroyed mess. And then Cortana chimes in and essentially says we need to get to the bridge because the bridge is where we can then use the neural implant to initiate the reactor, the overload of the fusion reactor. And thus, I mean, that's you think about that explosion. Granted, I'm no engineer. I don't know how powerful these engines are for these spacecraft. They describe them, and I'm sure they're powerful, but they are really powerful. If it's gonna take out an entire chunk of the Halo instead of essentially a chain reaction to destroy the whole thing. So the power of that. I mean, it's almost probably like an atom bomb almost, right? Like it.
Oh yeah,
way more.
I definitely wouldn't doubt that they have nuclear reactors on these starships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because think about like, not even let's say all the armament that's on this ship. I think they say they gutted it, but let's just say there's a lot of weapons still on the ship. I mean,
oh yeah,
he definitely had nukes on the Autumn as offensive capabilities,
mm-hmm.
and like the mines, the thermal mines, the nuclear mines they drop as well.
Right.
Also think about the fact that it's a slip space drive,
right.
So that has to be factored in. So like, I know they didn't like do like they didn't or like in Reach where they like detonated the slip space or had it turned on
mm-hmm.
and just had it like destroy what was around it or soak what was around it away and then fall back in on itself. This one was a straight up explosion.
Right.
So I mean it's pretty crazy. But yeah, totally doable, you'd imagine.
Yeah, if you consider all of that, which I didn't at first, but yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot that could blow up on this ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make a big boom. So I guess the logic checks out, right? In the Halo logic. The music was something I really noticed right away. Is the just kind of the slow chanting, kind of setting the mood right away. Krista, how are you feeling at this point of the game? We've come so far. We kind of know that this is the last mission. I mean, obviously, if you've checked how many missions there are in the game, but it feels like the culmination. Like, where's your head at right now?
It's definitely a full circle moment. It's just like, I started here, I ended here. It's almost kind of sad with all the events that have happened and just destroying the installation in general. But it does, you definitely have this feeling of urgency because of the flood and because of Guilty Spark. And you have the feeling of, greater good, right? Because you're stopping everything. You have to do this. I don't think the weight of exactly what you've done doesn't hit you until after this mission, the final cutscene. Mm-hmm. So I think just this, it's just like, I have a mission to do, I'm going to do it. And then you get to step back and be like, what the hell did I just do?
Right.
Yeah, and definitely, like, the game doesn't play it up. I mean, the books do it better of, like, it isn't just John left at the end. Like, there were other people, not just, like, enemies. Like, there were other Marines and humans on the ring when you detonated this. So you kill a lot of people as well, in terms of, like, I know we're skipping to the end of it, but, like, in completing this mission, you do a lot of bad as well as good.
You know,
what I mean?
a good
As
point.
Chris has said, it's the greater good. Mm-hmm. But the weight of that at the end isn't really fully realized in the game. I don't think.
Well, it's because he was never really
I
good friends with anybody.
Well, I think
They
it
never had
was
that
because
moment.
that final cutscene, Cortana talks to it. Chief does the like head shake, and then you get to kind of just sit there and look out at the destruction that you've kind of wrought on everyone who is on the ring.
Yeah.
But
they
we're
never
way
have
ahead of
that
ourselves.
moment. Yeah, but I mean, they never have that moment where, that heart-to-heart moment. Like, Cortana is your best buddy at this point, and she's in your head. You never have that, like, even with Johnson, you never have, like, go out there and do your best, and if you have to, blow the ring and save her. There's never that moment.
Well, and the only like meaningful relationships you really make in this game is with Cortana and Keyes, and maybe Foehammer, but
Right.
everyone just happens to be already dead when you blow the ring.
Yeah.
And even then, I think you have a more of a relationship with Guilty Spark than Foehammer.
It's true,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
you really do.
So we, so now I guess we're on our way to the bridge, and we get to use our headlamp again, which I always thought was weird.
Oh, fun stuff! I love the headlamp.
And
Best-
I love how
All
the
games
best
headlamp,
back
part
then had
about
lamps
this
and
mission.
torches. It was a requirement in a game.
the headlamp also can run out, which is so pointless.
You don't even
Yeah.
use it long enough for it to really run out, though. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah, it has that little bar, that little meter that says, you better not stand in one place for too long. That battery's going to run out.
it's
In your super powered, awesome suit that you wear
Right.
yeah, it's just
that has a nuclear reactor in it, more or less, or some crazy power source, But this battery, no way.
oh,
Like,
Halsey gave the suits just infinite power, but she's like, you know what? The headlight, we're just gonna give a AA battery.
I think
That's
it's just
it.
strapped on. It's not actually part of the
It's just a flashlight strapped to his head.
Yeah, that's probably it. He's just swapping out AA batteries all the time.
That's what he's doing in the time it takes to recharge. He's just got a bunch of AA's.
Oh, that's good. So then we start to see some flood finally show. Oh no, actually some sentinels show up first. So they
Yes.
fly in through those the escape pod, those kind of holes in the wall there. So we got to deal with a couple of those. So you're like, okay, all right, I got to deal with these guys again. Take them out pretty easily. Continue on, use our headlamp a little bit, and then you realize, okay, all right, we got some flood to deal with. Actually, a lot of flood to deal with.
Yeah,
But it's great because you can get a shotgun really fast.
that's like one of the
That's
first
what I like.
floods that you fight has a shotgun.
Yeah, so that's
It didn't feel like there were infinite spawns in this one. Did you guys notice any infinite spawn points?
No,
at the end of the game there is, but I don't not here. I
Sure.
don't think as you fight your way through, I don't think they're infinite at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
are
felt
you
like
talking
could-
about the warthog at the end of the game, or are you talking about the vents?
I'm talking about the vents.
Oh yeah,
When
the
you're
vents are
doing that
infinite,
mission.
but they
Yeah, infinite spawns.
Yeah. So you can essentially take your time. You kind of make your way up here to the bridge. You find some hunters, which is kind of weird. And I think that's the only. Oh no, there's some spec ops too, right? You said
yeah,
some
and
hunters.
grunts, spec op
Yeah.
grunts as well.
Mhm.
With
In
their
that,
fuel
it's that
rod
big
cannons.
room, which I think of as like a mess hall room, but maybe I'm mistaken. It feels like a big kitchen or like place to eat, but
Yeah.
maybe that's not what it is.
I think that's what it is.
They're all kind of hanging out in there, trying to take out the flood, and you can pretty much easily sprint past them all. At least on normal you can. I don't know. Did you guys have to deal with them at all in this playthrough?
I did heroic, so I did have to deal with them.
You did? Okay.
The Spec Ops Elites are really tough on higher difficulties. They're like really annoying. But I have...
Oh yeah, you got a noob combo of them.
I have a bandana skull, so I just threw sticky grenades at him.
You can also do that.
Can you let the flood, or maybe there aren't any flood right there where they can deal
They
with them?
kill off all the flood really quickly.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because they're badass.
Yeah, because they're the
badass.
Spec Ops Elites.
So yeah, we really just get to the bridge pretty quick, actually. And then we plug in Cortana, and she sets the reactor to detonate, and we give us a timer because we love timers, right? And and then 343 is here. Hello. He is actually in the engine room, and he's trying to stop us. He's trying to foil our plans. Yeah, did you guys... I don't know. It's hard to go back to the beginning and say, like, did you expect 343 here? But it's supposed to be a little bit of a surprise, right? It's not going to be that easy to just go blow the reactor and get off.
Yeah.
So they need to build
Yeah,
in a little resistance.
there's no way, because as you said, you get to the bridge really quickly, and you set up the countdown. Excellent, everything's working fine. And, you know what I mean, something had
Then
to throw a spanner in the works to bring out the level, yeah.
Yeah. So he's so what is he doing? So she says he's tapped into the systems of the ship, and essentially he's turned off the detonation, and then Cortana's really at a loss. She doesn't really know what to do now, right? That's kind of the first
she
point
says,
where
I
she
don't know what
doesn't-
to do.
Right. Yeah, and then I love this is a fun cutscene because you get to see the biggest grenade you've ever seen.
What the
Oh my
hell
God,
is
it's
up with
gigantic.
that? It's bigger than his freaking head.
I think it's a prop. I don't think it's an actual grenade. I think it's just a prop he found, or maybe it's a piece of rock.
Because
I don't know.
Master Chief was carrying around a fake grenade this entire time. He has
he's
like
so
this
funny.
just blow up gag grenade, and he's like, "This is the perfect
Yeah.
time to use this."
Maybe it's like a stress ball. Maybe it's just like a squeaky
A
grenade.
giant. He's very stressed, so he needs a really big stress ball.
Well, it's a Spartan-sized stress ball that would fit into a Spartan hand.
He's got it clenched between his buttocks the entire time.
Don't do that, Kristen.
That's actually a great idea for a loot crate item is a stress ball grenade. Come on, where you at 343? Let's do it.
They already gave
They
us a
already
stress ball
did a-
Master Chief.
They nailed the stress ball when Halo Wars 2 came out, and they gave you Fred's helmet that Atriox crushes at the start of the show, or the start of the game. They give you like his helmet as a stress ball.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
I have
a
that one. That's not
Pretty
Fred.
cool thing.
Who is it? Is it Jerome?
Strom.
Yeah, Jerome. Yeah.
Who did I say? Did I say
You
Fred?
said
Sorry.
Fred. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Drum's helmet.
That's actually
So
funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
tie-in.
Yeah, and you get
Exactly.
to crush it like Atriox.
which is pretty cool.
Atriox is great. All right, so then essentially we have to go. Well, then Chief is like, all right, well, if you're at a loss, why don't we just blow it up?
Why don't we use
And-
splody things to make a bigger splody thing?
Mhm. Yeah, and then she, Cortana's on board because she obviously likes to destroy things because it was her plan to destroy the Halo. So she's like, all right, let's do it.
But of course.
And then so the cutscene ends. Then you got some Sentinels that show up, and I didn't have any problem. Have you guys ever had problem with these guys right here? These terminal?
No.
These.
Sentinels are
Sentinels?
so
Yeah.
easy.
Okay.
No, I always carry a Covenant weapon for this, either a plasma pistol or rifle, because it just mows them down, even if they have shields.
Yeah. So you can essentially just about face and run, if you want.
That too.
I don't think you really have to deal with them. But then we go to head to Cryo, and I think Cortana kind of mentioned this. And this is supposed to be the area where you were being held originally. It looks a little different now, but it was being the place where you were held, and that's where we find the final. Well, not quite the final, but the final terminal that we'll be talking about. Yeah, and this is an interesting terminal. We'll go over it at the end, but it teases a lot of things that are going on in the far future of the game. Yeah, and that whole room actually that actually might be an infinite spawn point. I feel like
When
a
you're
lot
trying
of
to
flood
leave
come
the
in there.
room?
Yeah, when you're trying to leave
Yeah,
that room.
that corridor. I think you're right. Yeah, that corridor might be infinite spawn. I think you have to push your way up that corridor after the cryo room
Yeah.
to get into the.
I'm glad there's no more
it is.
infinite spawn points after this. Holy shit.
Well,
or not as many.
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, I guess we kind of glossed over, but the plan is to then blow some reactors in the engineering room, and that's
Force
essentially
the engines to go overheat.
Yeah, and then they'll essentially eventually detonate or blow up the ship, which will then blow up the Halo eventually. So the plan is still in place. We just have to blow something else different.
You
We have
just
to
gotta
blow
do
it
it
manually
manually.
versus
Yeah,
doing it
yeah.
automatically. Yeah, so that's fine, right? So then there's more. We essentially find our way to the engineering room. Do you guys want to talk about like the way there? It's just a lot of flood, really.
It's not really interesting. It's just
Yeah.
it's a corridor shooter. You shoot guys in corridors and
Yeah.
fight your way to the armory.
It is fun to kind
We
of
just-
see the autumn, I guess. Like, so you get to see a little bit more of the autumn, and you get to revisit a couple different areas.
Backtrack. It's cool to see the fights. I think some of the setups are pretty cool. Seeing the
Mhm.
Covenant fight the Flood and the Sentinels in there as well, and it's a cool mix. And then you get like hunters and stuff as well. It's just pretty cool.
And I did
I
get
enjoyed it.
lost. It's hard to describe exactly where I got lost, but I did get lost at least once. Whereas I thought I was going to the right spot, and then it wasn't, and it actually was a door, like a dark corridor room that had to open. I think it had some red lights on it, and I didn't think it opened. So there's a couple spots to get turned around. But for the most part, you find your way to the engineering area.
Whoa,
And
whoa,
do you
whoa,
guys-
whoa, whoa! You forgot the secret room.
Oh, tell me about the secret
What's
room.
secret room?
The armory.
That's what I was just getting. I was
Armory's not a
just
secret.
getting at the armory.
Okay, well that's before engineering.
Yeah, right before engineering.
Yeah,
So I didn't use the armory this time.
Oh, I love
But-
the armory.
What?
Yeah.
You have to
That's
use the
sacrilege.
armory,
Colin, that's
I
sacrilege.
It is
didn't
You
have to.
go
I
to the
played on
armory.
normal, so I was like, all right, I could do this.
but then you
Oh
don't
my
have
God.
to do grenades.
Yeah.
You get rocket launchers. Oh my god, you got like shotguns. You have like max ammo and everything you want. Oh, it's such a good room. It's one of my favorite
Is
rooms.
it ever? Remind me I forget what it looks like. It's just everything, every weapon you could ever imagine.
I don't think there's a sniper
Everything
rifle. I
except
think it's
colors.
assault
There's no sniper.
rifles. I think it's pistols, shotguns, and
Shotguns,
rockets.
rocket.
Mm-hmm. And so grab that rocket launcher because that will come in handy.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then Invisiflood.
Yeah, that's true. There's the only stealth
Oh.
flood in the game. Actually appears they ambush you if you spend too long in the armory.
I forgot
They do
about
it
that.
exact like right when you get in though, is when they spawn.
You can get in and get ammo and get out again before even seeing them.
Oh really?
I do it all the
just
time.
like fighting them.
Yeah.
I think they're cool.
And like the door that they open, you can get in there, but then nothing happens. You're kind of stuck in there. I've done that a few
Mhm.
times.
You're stuck in there forever. Now you're the Invisiflood,
Forever and ever.
waiting for the next player to come around.
But nobody ever comes because you're playing single player.
Aw, poor
Boo.
David.
Sad.
That's exactly the way I want it to be.
You want to be
Solo.
sad?
I want to be alone.
All right. So then, all right, grab your rocket launcher because you're going to need that. If you're like me and you didn't want to go there, then you better have a bunch of grenades or be able to pick up grenades and be a good shot because you essentially have to go. So the big room, we reached the big room, and that's where 343 is. And he's floating around the entire time, right? He's in there.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
can shoot at him, but it won't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he putters around and every now and again hits reinforcements in terms of some sentinels.
And he actually has a lot of good dialogue in there. Krista, do you want to bring up his dialogue in there? I think I found it on the walkthrough or something like
Yep.
that. We can mention it here in a little bit. But he's essentially just taunting you the entire time, like he usually does, or like he had done in the library, while you're trying to. So now we do some platforming. We got to find your way up to the kind of the middle level, top middle level. Hit a button. And then this giant, I don't know if it's a rod or what it is, but it pulls out and
It's a
exposes.
big arm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this big arm essentially pulls out and exposes one of these reactors. And then the reactors actually, they're not open yet. They actually have a little flap that will then have to come open. And then that's when you can actually hit it with an explosive. If you hit it when the flap isn't open, nothing will happen. So yeah, and it's just platforming fun, right? I mean, I love this part of the game, right? Everybody loves this. David, do you like this part?
I like it. I like it.
You do?
I've no I've no problems with this part of the game. It can be a little bit frustrating if you don't exactly like the hitbox on the vent. I think is somewhat questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So like there are some times where I know I've shot in and nothing has happened. And On higher difficulties, this can be a bit of a pain, especially on Legendary when the Sentinels rush in and you have like 5 Sentinels. You don't really have the weapons to fight it because you drop them in order to pick up a rocket. You probably, if you're like me, just have a rocket and a shotgun, which are not good Sentinel fighting weapons.
Right.
So they can murder you real fast here.
They can. If they lock on you, right?
Yeah, when you get caught in the open.
The reason that I don't really like this part of the game, and this activity isn't unique to Halo, like doing some first-person platforming isn't unique, but you don't really have to do any platforming up until this point. So it never really teaches you how to do it very well before.
Yeah, there's some crouch jumping that's needed and stuff like that, and they never teach you that in this game. And that was just like, I think video games back then, that was a known thing in terms of crouch jumping was allowed in a lot of games. Allowed you to access areas that maybe necessarily shouldn't have been. But this game is not a platformy one in any stretch of the imagination, other than like the end of this mission, let's say.
Right. And the crouch jumping is essentially where you jump and then you hit the crouch button, so it brings your feet up. And you can actually reach the platform that you're going for. So I'm not crazy about it. I don't mind the mechanics of it, but just the platforming aspect of it. I would almost rather have less platforming and more enemies to deal with. That would just feel more in line with kind of the Halo game that you're playing versus all of a sudden, okay, I got to jump around and do all this other stuff as well.
Right.
Anyway, Krista, do you like this area? Do you like this one?
No. Keep it away from me. Especially when you're doing grenades. It is the most frustrating thing to get those grenades in those vents.
Because they bounce off.
They bounce off. They won't. You'll think they'll be in, but then they won't. I was using a rocket launcher, and we at this point we know to wait for the vent to be completely open. So I'm shooting rockets when it's completely open. Doesn't register. Super annoying. I've already jumped down from the platform, so now I have to crawl all the way up, press the button again, shoot another rocket, which is fine when you have the bandana skull on, but if you are working with limited ammunition and grenades, it can be really frustrating.
Yeah. You have to go back to the armory.
You have to go back to the armory, and re-up.
Cortana says if you run out of anything, there's an armory we passed, but which was a new addition to CEA. It wasn't in the original game.
The armory?
She didn't say that?
No, the whole... I think the armory was a PC only thing.
Oh, no.
No?
The armory was always
really?
there. Yeah, 100% the armory was always in the game. That's not a CEA thing.
Okay.
I believe that.
Krista, you were 6 when you were playing this game.
Shut up.
Do you know what I mean? So come on.
But in general, just the mechanics of that room are so different than anything we've done in this game, because everything else we've done that had, like, even just disrupting in 2 Betrayals when we're disrupting the firing mechanism for the Halo ring, that was, we just have to stand in it. It wasn't something you were actively doing. So this was like...
This is Halo CE's boss fight. This is just a weird thing you got to do at the end of the game. You didn't do before.
Yeah, that's true.
Your boss fight is the Pillar of Autumn.
Got to use all your skills. That's actually funny to think about. The boss is the Pillar of Autumn. That's actually good. I like that.
You have to fight it with new skills that you didn't have before, like crouch jumping.
Right.
And accurate rocket launcher shooting.
So what does 343 say? Well, he's taunting you while you're trying to do all these things.
He says so many things, my friends.
Just maybe find a couple funny ones.
Oh, there are so many funny ones. We'll get there. Okay, so, why would you destroy this installation as well as this fascinating record? There's a lot of, give me your construct and we'll just keep going and I'll repair the ring. But there's always a, do you require medical attention? Oh, how touching. Are you perhaps ill?
That's good.
Unacceptable reclaimer, just stuff like that. Why do you continue to ignore your task? The flood will continue to multiply. Just stuff like that. He's just trying to convince you to not blow up the ring at this point.
Yeah, he still wants to fire it because that's his solution.
And his weird guilty spark ways.
Right. All right, so we finally did it. We blew all 4 reactors manually, and then do we get the timer here?
No.
So we don't get a timer yet, right? So we blow them all. No. Then we have to go all the way up to the top again and find a tunnel that leads to a elevator, and then the elevator has a spec ops elite and a couple grunts for you to take out. Then the elevator takes.
Now,
what's that?
just on that point, that spec ops elite is actually a known character in the Halo universe.
It is.
So yeah, the Special Operations Senghili commanding the squad of Special Operations Ungai in the maintenance elevator 07 would be Zuka Zamami, which I think we mentioned at one stage or another in this series, probably at the very start, who is a Halo the Flood character. So Zamami was pursuing John during the whole duration that he was on Installation 04, trying to kill him. As a result, he's considered by some as an unofficial mini-boss in the level by fans. So depending on the level of difficulty, there may be more than one Spec Ops in the elevator.
Okay.
But in the Flood, it says that he was manning a T-29 ASG. I'm not sure what that is. I should probably look that up. It's probably a turret or something, or a vehicle. But he's supposed to be like the last Sanghili that you fight as John leaves. That's in the book The Flood, and he's like a character essentially trying to assassinate John. So that's supposed to be him. It's like a...
I like that. That makes me more intrigued to go back and read The Flood now. That I'd forgotten about that storyline.
The Flood's got some cool stuff in it. So there we go. We take the elevator up, and away we go, Colin.
Take the elevator up, and then we hop in the Warthog. And what did she say? I'm forgetting. I should have written it down. She said something about like a wildcat something or other.
Wildcat destabilization.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that
sounds
means.
awesome.
Is that like what the reactor's called or something?
Yeah, that's the explosion. That's the kind of done away. If you it's just a classification of error. Let's say like, oh my god, our engines are going on for a wildcat destabilization, and that means big explosion, everybody.
And you have, so I had, was it 6 minutes or 3 minutes at this point? I think it's 3 minutes.
The timer, I want to say...
Oh no, it says 6 minutes.
It's 6 minutes.
Yeah, 6 minutes. And that's the same for
So this
across
is
all
yeah, so
levels.
This is the all difficulties, at the same time. This is the only timer in all of Halo universe in all the games. So this is the only game.
This is when they decided
timer,
it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. So they did it once. Now, jumping ahead, Halo 3 doesn't have a timer on your screen, but if you take too long,
You will
you'll
die, yeah.
So you're essentially timed there, but this is the only one that actually gives you a timer on your screen in the whole Halo universe.
Yeah. So if you're good at driving a Warthog, you can do this and without too much, controller
Difficulty.
throwing.
Yeah.
If you're bad at driving Warthog, this part sucks.
This part you better get good, my friend.
Yeah.
You ain't going nowhere.
It's just a weird thing that I like in any other situation I suck at driving the Warthog, right? It's just that I've done this part of the mission so much that it's a piece of cake.
And I do love it, by the way. I love this Warthog run. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool way to end the mission, even if it is, I know we'll probably talk about it, a ridiculously broken in terms of like the canon of like what you're actually doing and where you're going.
Yeah.
Because the Autumn is not this big and you're driving for so long.
Yeah, it gives you, the distance and the waypoint with the distance. It's not easy if you're not good at driving the Warthog. And again, this is how you get good at driving the Warthog, is by just doing this over and over. One of the largest pains, I guess, is you can get really far and miss it. The timer runs out, whatever, die late, and then you have to start all the way over again. So there's no checkpoint along the way.
No.
Which I guess that's fine.
There is, I think there's one.
Is it the one at Full Hammer?
Yeah, I think if you sit and wait there and let that play out, I think you'll get a checkpoint.
Oh, okay.
But if you're like me and now you just go straight through.
If you drive through, you save yourself like 30 seconds or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it is a lot of time. But like, it's weird where like you sit and wait, but you don't lose any time. Do you know what I mean? Like when the timer starts up, it starts up again at the same time it was beforehand, which is really weird. You just have the momentum by driving straight through and not waiting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to talk about that moment now.
Well, I did just want to mention that I do like the aesthetic of it, like the everything blowing up and all the fights and all that sort of stuff going on around you is cool, but with all the obstacles and the way that the Warthog handles and how easy it is to flip over, that's the part that's frustrating, So it is a kind of a cool moment that they built, but the mechanics of it aren't that great, especially again if you're not good at driving the Warthog. But yeah, Fohammer, she comes in. She's flying in to essentially. She's gonna pick you up, right?
Yeah, she's gonna take you off of the installation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she comes in. She's got a couple banshees that essentially take her down, and then you get to see her. Oh,
Hi.
I think we have to have a moment for Fohammer. Just a moment of silence.
She got killed by just 2 banshees.
Yeah, she was tired. She hasn't slept that much. It's been 4 days. I mean, come on.
But Krista, like we know, all pelicans in Halo Universe crash.
Yeah.
So it's not really her fault.
That's true.
If the Pelicans
She
like,
lasts
this
until
is
the
our
end of the
time,
game.
Fohammer. We have to crash now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there wasn't another probably pelican for her to jump over. Like this pelican's time, maybe it wasn't Fohammer's time. If she went to another pelican. Anyway, no conspiracy theories. So our friend, my favorite, Fohammer, she meets her end here, and it's sad. I'm sad. But then we also get to see a skull off in the distance. So if you want to, during this moment of hectic, go get the final skull in the game. You can hop out kind of on one of those railings there and hop on top of the warthog, run down. You can either shoot.
I think it's the Grunt birthday.
Yep, Grunt birthday party. Yep.
Yep.
And it's a good one to get.
Best skulls. It's a good skull.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, when you take out a grunt, they explode into confetti.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Just like that.
So good. So good. All right. So you can hop on get that skull if you want. If not, hop back into the warthog. Keep going. Essentially, more of the same as you're driving through the extra long Pillar of Autumn. And
It's king sized.
It's king size, right?
Magnum.
Did you know about the thirsty grunt? I found that somewhere.
Oh, it's
I
in one
didn't
of the
know about it
quarters,
until CA.
right?
Yeah, he's like just a grunt that talks to you. I can't remember. There's an achievement for getting it. I can't really remember what the significance of it is, if any.
It's just kind of a little moment. Kind of. So you hop back in the warthog, you continue on, and then on one of the tunnels, I guess, off to the side, he's sitting there, and it looks. I think he must have killed some flood right in that area, and then he talks about.
Yeah.
What does he say specifically? Let's see here. I could open this up. Should have had this open, but anyway, he has some funny dialogue if you want to sit there and listen to him. Says, "Good thing that food nipple's waiting for me at the starship, because man, phew, have I worked up a big grunty thirst."
Oh God.
Nice.
Good times. Yeah, so then we just keep going. Then we keep driving. So do we want to? So the Pillar of Autumn isn't this long as it's designed. I think the Bungie designed this mission to have tension, and they needed a long drive in order to do that. They didn't take into consideration that there would be all these people like us that care about the lore, and that the ship itself is actually much shorter than what this drive is. So there's a couple articles you can find online if you really kind of want to dig into that. But essentially, you shouldn't have been driving this long to escape to the back of the Autumn.
It's just like one of
Essentially,
those
yeah.
video game things that you kind
Yeah.
of have to turn away from and just be like, you know what?
A little bit.
It was a fun little
'Cause-
thing we did. It kind of isn't canon. It doesn't really line up, but it
So the numbers
enriched
are.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the numbers are the Pillar of Autumn is about 1.17. I like it. Kilometers long. However, you must drive 3.5 kilometers.
Yeah.
So you're going like 3 times the size of the ship.
Yeah. So anyway, just don't worry about it. Just have fun.
Nah,
right?
don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it.
Let it happen.
So at the very end, you finally have to hop off, and then hopefully have enough time to then make the final sprint through the flood. I think there's flood and covenant here. I think
Yeah.
There is.
Yes.
they're both fighting each other, and then you have to sprint to the long sword, where you hop in and escape. Broadsword. Excuse me, broadsword.
Mm-hmm.
You hop in and escape, and you get to see the final cutscene at that point.
This part of the
And-
drive always, like, no matter how detached I feel from the game, like if I'm just watching a movie or something while playing it, I still get adrenaline rush. It's still like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does a good job at that, especially if you've maybe tried a couple times and died or gotten close to the
it's a
end.
great dramatic moment.
Yeah, it's a stressful
I
moment.
like the end.
Gets the heart rate up a little bit. And then we get to see the Halo explode and all the kind of chunks fly off, and that kind of moment's revisited a few times in Halo, so this is
Put a bookmark
this is the
here.
first time you see it. Bookmark. You'll come back to this at some point. And then you have a fun little conversation with Cortana, and she talks about dust and echoes. 'Cause according to her scans, everybody's dead.
Except for him. Except for Dustin Echoes.
Except for Dustin. Poor Dustin. What's he doing? He's just floating on one chunk. He's out there all alone.
Yep. But he's Dustin Echoes, so he does whatever he wants.
I would say there's a pretty kind of funny little bit of trivia here. So in the end cutscene, when Chief takes off his helmet, he actually has a second helmet on underneath.
Yeah.
Because Bungie didn't have a model for his face. So like even when he takes the helmet off, if you could see that, which people have done in like the PC and mods and stuff, he's just there with another helmet on.
Yeah, he just takes off his helmet. It's another helmet. It's pretty hilarious. You can see it on YouTube and stuff.
Do we talk about Johnson here? Well, let's talk about the legendary ending, and then we'll come back to Johnson real quick. The other thing that the other quote, I guess, it's like the end of the game, right? And Bungie doesn't know if they're going to do another game, but they might as well, have a quote like this. Chief says, "I think we're just getting started."
Well, no, Cortana says, "Halo, it's finished."
Oh, right.
I think we're just getting started. And then it's just like,
and
then it's just like fade up and look at the stars, and it's like, oh, wow, it's so pretty.
Contemplate.
And then da-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's such a good moment, though. It's really interesting.
It is. You feel, because you're kind of exhausted from that Warthog ride, and then you kind of get the payoff of explosion, and then you get those quotes, and then you think about, what if? What's next? What's next for these guys? I'm assuming this broadsword has a slip space drive because they have to somehow get back to humanity, right?
That's a good question.
I don't remember.
It's probably covered in Halo First Strike, which is the sequel to this game.
Yeah, well,
they might have mentioned it. It's a large ship, so possibly, because I know that there are certain versions of Pelicans that have slip space drive. They're called Condors. So, and they're way smaller than this ship. So I think so. Yeah, I think it might have a slip space drive.
Yeah. And we'll, as you know, this isn't the end of Halo, so he finds his way back to humanity somehow, and we'll be covering that off, covering off on that in the future series. Okay, we're essentially done, but
yay!
But if you've played on Legendary, you do get to see 343 Guilty Spark. He survived, flying off into the distance.
Chris is happy.
Yes. Always.
The other thing that they add in there is the goofy little moment with Sergeant Johnson and the Elite.
That's amazing. It's so funny.
It's so weird.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
They're like fighting over a rifle, and then they see the ship explode, and he's just like, "Give me a hug.
Hold me." And then the Sangheili grabs his ass. I love that.
It's so good.
And they changed it up, I think, in CEA. Grant Johnson grabs Sangheili's ass. So that's kind of funny. But it was a cool moment.
It's really iconic. It really is.
Mm-hmm. I think also it made funnier by the intro of like Halo 2, where like, spoilers, Johnson survives and they don't tell you how. But he's just like, a guy's asking me how it's like, that's classified, I won't tell you. And like, but the last time we saw him was grabbing the ass of a Sangheili. So that was funny.
Oh man, yeah. So what we're gonna do from here, we're essentially done with our Halo CE talk through. We are gonna do a wrap up show after this, so look for that. We'll talk about kind of any loose ends. There is another terminal, another terminal to discover. So we'll talk about that terminal. You can search terminal Halo CE Terminal 11, and you can have a watch, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll also just talk about kind of our thoughts on coming from Reach, which was a game that was created like almost 10 years after the CE. Kind of talk about comparisons of the two. So send us your thoughts on that if you have anything that you'd like to chime in on. Anything else just kind of on the mission proper that you guys want to talk about?
No, I think we kind of covered everything.
Yeah, I like it. It was a good mission.
It's a frustrating mission,
cool. Are you sure?
But it's good.
Yeah, I like it. I like the ending of CE is one of my favorite games. It's my favorite Halo game, so I do like the ending of it. I like the build up and the drama, and it's fun. Even the co-op, there's some co-op shenanigans you can have in this game. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And this mission is the same. It's pretty cool. I enjoy it. We used to try and race each other in Warhogs. We take a Warhog each and try and see who gets through, and then like at various points you'll kind of get teleported out of the one if the guy's ahead of you, so you'll lose your Warhog and have to run on foot to the next moment. So it's pretty cool. We used to do fun stuff like that.
Yeah,
Great
it's
game.
definitely a good game to just do fun stuff like that. And then there's the whole multiplayer factor, which we haven't really talked about. I didn't play much of it originally. I don't know if you guys played much of multiplayer, but it's just there's so much to do. It's a big sandbox. There wasn't many games like it out at the time, so it was one of those that you could. There was just a lot of replay value in the game, and there still is, if you want, on Master Chief Collection.
Which is what we're playing this game on.
Right. Halo CE Anniversary. So many refinements. It's like the third refinement.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
All right, guys. I think we're done. That will do it.
Yeah.
For our debriefing.
Yeah, we got more.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We got Terminal. We got stuff.
There's so much more to do. Sorry, guys. All right, let's talk Terminal real quick. We'll do a quick
rundown. Okay.
That's right.
Vexation. Shit. That's the first thing he says in this terminal. But this terminal is Guilty Spark realizing, Master Chief's plan, being really upset. He says 100,000 years of maintenance and diligence and protecting this place. And, now John wants to come and ruin all my shit. It's not really cool, man. But 16 hours after I finally made contact, this so-called reclaimer decides to blow it all up. It's just so funny. So it's mostly him going like, why are they destroying my installation? I'm really mad about that. And then he starts talking. He's like, this covenant is interesting. They might actually be useful to me. Maybe I should, get to know them a little better and see what they can do for me. And he says, I sound like her. Which I'm not sure exactly who the her is he's referring to. The first thing I think is the librarian. But
it has to be.
Is it Cortana?
Oh.
No, I don't think so. Maybe. Ooh, I never even thought about that.
No, he doesn't know what Cortana well enough, does he?
I mean, they had that huge, talk in the control room, and I think they've had conversations a little bit. I'm not sure what their intelligent matrices do when they're communicating with each other, but I mean,
interesting.
Cortana is the kind of person or AI who sees a group of whatevers and says, what can they do for me, kind of thing. So maybe, who knows?
Yeah. Okay. It's a cool terminal. It shows humanity fighting the flood across the planet and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool, across the Halo ring. That's kind of cool scenes of John looking badass, walking out of flames and all sorts of stuff.
It looks like Fireteam Raven stuff too. It's like, ooh, I want to play that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the animation style in general, we haven't really talked about that in the terminals, I feel like it's highlighted here also, but I just love the way that they're not like a full-on animation cutscene type animation. It's more like, I don't know the right term, but it's kind of like a little more.
It's not a moving comic. It actually has, characters and more movement.
Motion comic? Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Motion comic, yeah. It's like a level above that. It's like the level between motion comic and also full animation. But yeah, I think the way they present it is great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the final thing we get from Guilty Spark is, but I would not give to have a single company of Prometheans here right now. Which, if you think back to when this game was coming out, they were working up to hype up Halo 4. So I think at this point we've probably seen some Promethean stuff in teasers. Because one of the first teasers of Halo 4 was a Promethean teaser. With its skull face kind of thing doing.
Oh, sure. So if you're playing in the moment, if you played this game in 2010 or whenever it came out. When did it come out? 2011 maybe?
2011 because it was 10 years, yeah.
2011, yeah, it was 10 years after.
So maybe they'd already dropped mentions that, or you had seen something new that you might be fighting. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you think about it, 2011, this came out in November, so E3 2011 would be a year until Halo 4 would come out, a year and 6 months. So they must have had a cinematic trailer at E3 in 2011 that probably introduced the Prometheans.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, but this is the first mention of Prometheans
in lore
at all, right? And then she continues, right? Or
Yeah.
he continues.
He just says, how lethal they are, and then he says, but that would mean he would have to be here too, and without the librarian around to temper his rage, well, these reclaimers might almost prefer the flood. And then you see the Didact symbol appear, which was, in the Halo 4, hype train, that was, a big, icon, just the Didact symbol, showing up weird places, kind of a foreboding kind of thing, with their marketing campaigns, so...
Yeah, so so if you're playing with us, you're not really this isn't going to make a ton of sense until a couple games from now, but they're dropping the seeds into this because their new game, Halo 4, is about to come out, which I think makes sense.
It does. It does make sense to kind of bridge the gap a little bit, just because they were introducing all these characters that had been around forever, and the only character that could have possibly known about them is Guilty Spark.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep, that's true. All right. Let's do some community, and then we'll get out of here.
Hooray!
Okay.
Facebook first.
So on Facebook.
So
Facebook first.
Yeah, we did a poll, right?
We sure did. So Colin did his first ever poll as Podcast Evolve. So congratulations, Collins, on your successful rise to power in the Podcast Evolve community.
My slow takeover.
So Colin put in, who's your favorite character in Halo Combat Evolved? Now, there were some ridiculous things in this poll, but I think the correct answer came to the top, so that's okay. So it was pretty tight between, which I was surprised, Sergeant Johnson won, followed very quickly by Foehammer, who was winning up until, I think, yesterday. So then was Guilty Spark, Cortana, Master Chief, Wart, Captain Keys, Jenkins, Chips, Dubois. Which are a lot of characters, but there aren't very many characters in Halo CE, and I'm quite surprised that Foehammer is as high as she was. I mean, she's cool, but you only see her in 3 parts of the game, maybe.
Well, Foehammer is her personality, I think, that's the reason I like
guess
her so
so
much.
I guess so.
She's
yeah.
like the no nonsense type of person, right? And plus she saves the day, or she saves
sassy.
you along the way, or helps you out along the way.
She drops you in places and picks you up and stuff, and she's a bit sassy, but other than the tragic ending, I'm like, man, other characters are way more cooler.
Yeah.
Like Sergeant Johnson.
Nope.
Yep. Anyway. Krista, tell me all about the Twitter.
So Twitter will only let you have 4 choices on your polls, or I'm just doing it wrong, but that was as many as I could fit. So I did Master Chief, Keys, Cortana, Sergeant Johnson. Master Chief won by 53%.
That's okay.
Followed by Sergeant Johnson, Keys, and then Cortana. R.I.P.
So Chief
Cortana.
did win the Twitter.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's funny how Chief was so far down on the Facebook list.
I know. I think people were maybe more jokey. Then I don't know.
Well, the Facebook list, so that's a lore group.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about the characters, and Master Chief doesn't have a ton of character in in the entire series, but he doesn't have a ton. There's not a lot to him.
That's true. Well, there's more when you include the books and stuff, especially the Flood, which really kind of fleshes out his character during the events of Halo CE. So, but I understand in Halo CE, he's not doing a whole lot. Do you know what I mean? Right. So, and he's not verbally. There's not a lot going on. It's all Cortana. Yeah. But anyway.
All right. Now that will do it. That will do it. As I mentioned, we're going to do a wrap-up show, so we'll kind of cover off on our thoughts of the entire game. We'll cover off on Terminal 11, so go watch that. And then we'll also do a little kind of comparison, Reach, Halo CE, which one you like better, which one has the better, elements, gameplay, that sort of stuff. So that'll be a fun show. Hopefully just a quick one that we'll put out next time. That will do it for our debriefing of the Maw. On the next episode, again, we'll be doing the wrap-up, but then we'll also we'll start Halo 2. We'll be leading on to Halo 2, which is crazy. We're getting on. It's nuts. It's exciting. I actually played a little Halo 2 right after this. I was like, oh, man. There's so much to talk about. There's a lot of lore in Halo 2. So much lore.
Lore explosion.
Basically.
What happened with Halo 2.
Halo 2 is when the series really got fleshed out.
Yeah. They had so much they had to take stuff out.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolved.
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 That was a meaty episode. Lots of meat to that episode.